turn our attention to areas to upgrade. Areas that you think the Browns will look to upgrade, that they need to upgrade. Obviously, they went all in. They believe you don't go out and get Odell Beckham Jr. unless you think you're a serious contender.
Yeah, I don't think they're done by any stretch. There's a safety need that has to be addressed, whether it's Eric Berry, Chiefs' notorious safety there, who's done some amazing things in his career, overcoming some odds with cancer, and then having some really good football seasons in there too. A Pro Bowl player. He's dealt with injuries the last 2 years, so that's a type of player they might be able to take a flyer on, get in there for cheap, and maybe you get 16 games out of him. But the leadership that you can get from that player is really something that's unparalleled. So they'll entertain that idea. Trey Boston, another player that they could entertain at the safety position, but they certainly have to address box safety because Demarius Randall is entrenched at free safety, but that box safety is a necessary position that they should consider after Jabril Peppers' departure. Linebacker, they have two good players. You only really want two players playing at linebacker in modern NFL. You want as many DBs on the field as you can as teams spread you out more and more. But a guy like Zach Brown, who the Redskins just let go, Brandon Marshall's another name from the Redskins who could be a player of interest. The Browns really have to fill that void left by, Jamie Collins. And it seems like they have big plans to use Jannard Avery. But Jannard Avery has been sort of known in his rookie year to be a really good situational edge rusher, maybe not necessarily a three-down linebacker type. But if you're only using him 30% of his snaps and he's walling off a hash in zone coverage or maybe running with a tight end, he's athletic enough to do that and he can play there. So it's not a immediate pressing need. They can certainly upgrade that position, though, and you're really hoping that Christian Kirksey has a bounce-back year after 2 rough years in Greg Williams' defense and coming off an injury, so you're really banking on that situation, too. So I'd feel better if they upgraded that or brought in somebody, and the draft is there for that, too. There are some names in the draft that could fall to the second round that could be some good second, third, fourth round that could be some good players. Interior defensive line, I still think they have to add depth behind two heck of a good football players up front in Sheldon Richardson, Larry Ogunjobi, who I believe in both of those guys to be good players, but they have to get depth. They re-signed Carl Davis, but they need to, like I said, look at upgrading a pass rushing second unit interior player. Chad Thomas might have that ability to bump down inside and rush a little bit. I know they drafted him for that last year. The third-round pick, who'd really out of Miami, didn't see much time all year, was a big disappointment, but it's early in his rookie contract. He's going to have every opportunity to get in there and compete. So plenty of things that they can do. It's a good interior defensive line class, but those are 3 positions I think the Browns have to shore up. And then letting go of a player, Briambati Calhoun, who just signed with Houston today, they could really use a slot corner, sort of, gain a little bit more depth there. TJ Carey is going to be their guy, but in the modern NFL, man, with all these guys who are running around the field everywhere, you can really never have enough good cornerbacks.
The other thing that needs to be addressed, really, a backup quarterback. I don't think Drew Stanton is a guy that you put on the field and expect to play. I suppose you can win with him. He has won in the NFL, but I think he's there more of that mentor to make sure that Baker Mayfield has the calming influence that was there. Who are some guys to look at that the Browns might bring in either through the draft or free agency or what be it to be their backup quarterback?
Yeah, there's a plethora of names that are sort of floating around on the market. I mean, somebody like is just let go today. Trevor Simeon's a name that could be out there. I know that Ryan Tannehill was just traded. I thought he might hit the market as another name. I'm big on Ryan Fitzpatrick. He had a fantastic year. Some of the better graded single game efforts early in the year from Pro Football Focus as a starter for Tampa Bay. So I'm not sure he is looking to settle in as a backup. But if he is an ideal fit in that Todd Monken offense. Having that history there can help Baker Mayfield, a really good leader type too. And then, because the last thing you want, Dave, is to be maybe start 5-3 and Mayfield goes into concussion protocol. And all of a sudden you need to win 2 or 3 games and you don't really have confidence in your backup quarterback to do that. The Browns sound like they have confidence in Drew Stanton. He's a great human being. He's a great interview, a great guy. Seems very cerebral. Helps Baker out on the sideline, helps the offense out on the sideline. You could see him several times with Ryan Lindley and Kitchens on the sideline last year, kind of going through things. I think he's immense help, but I'm not sure you want him to be having the season on his shoulders in the middle of the year. Something comes to. So those free agent names are something to keep an eye on. Blake Bortles might hit the free agent market. Not a guy that people are going to love, but he does have starting experience. Might be able to get you through a couple games here and there if you need him to. If the Browns do choose to draft somebody, a couple guys late I have my eye on. Gardner Minshew out of Washington State has an extensive air raid background, which is where that Monken offense comes from. He plays under the guru that is Mike Leach out of Washington State, had a nice career, and really has that sort of chip on his shoulder that Baker Mayfield has. So those two could align well over the long haul. Brett Wright being out of Boise State's another guy to keep your mind on, as well as is just a guy who can sling it a little bit, but it needs time to develop. But as an NFL quarterback and down the road could be that sort of guy who you could use in a pinch or could develop into a tradable asset too. So options to be had. Still plenty of names out on the market as far as backups go. Everything I've gathered is John Dorsey's very confident in Drew Stanton. They signed him for 2 years for a reason, knowing that Tyrod only had 1 year. So I won't be surprised if they don't add to it, but I do think they would be wise to bring in somebody with a little bit more experience and more experience in a recent setting too.